All right. Let's move on with the podcast. So we did have some actual relevant breaking news, not like hardcore breaking news, but news that popped before we recorded for once. So we'll do that in a little bit, but I'm going to lead with what we plan to start with. So I just kind of randomly had this thought and posted it on social and got a great response to it. So I'm so sorry Miranda couldn't be here because she was excited to talk about this as well. So we'll save hers for another time. But Michael, I thought you and I could chat through this for a few minutes before we move on to our other topics this week. So what gaming era would you most like to go back and relive if you could? Now I'm talking about moments that just aren't possible anymore. So because most games, thankfully, game preservation is relatively healthy in the sense that most games you can still play today, right now, if you want to, some awesome game from your past. But there are moments that are gone, that are just, we're never going to recreate. They're just over and done with. So I thought maybe you and I could ping pong back and forth a couple times here, just play a little nostalgia tennis, if you will.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah, I'll let you serve here, and then I'll volley back.
Sure.
Give me an era. Give me something from your past that you'd most like to go back and relive.
Man, I thought about this a lot. I think about this all the time, man. Specifically with Xbox, so when we have console generations and all that, but for me, the way in which I grew up, I kind of like broke up a lot of my memories in terms of like the school year. So I'd have like, fall semester, winter break, spring semester, summer. Like I would always divide like my memories up in that and like that. So
your memories were on an academic calendar.
Yeah, absolutely. And they had been for a very, very long time. So summer 2003 was probably one of the more special like summers of gaming for me, I guess. Because this is when I felt like, when I look back on it too, Xbox Live had really come into its own. It kind of like had a year to mature. It had games released. It kind of, we saw not so great games and we saw some hits along the way. And this was like before it kind of reached its pinnacle, because this was before Halo 2 had come out. Once Halo 2 came out, Xbox Live was like, that was the thing. But the year before that was still like really, really special because I had like admired PC games from afar for so long, but we couldn't afford a PC and we were just getting internet. So that wasn't something I had access to, but I did have an Xbox. And at the time, Xbox was getting a lot of PC ports.
True.
And with the advent of Xbox. Yeah, and good ones too. Not just like slop or anything, just like, ports and whatever, like without like the quality of life features that you want out of a console game. So when I got my hands on Xbox Live and all of these PC ports, it felt like I had access to a whole library, and not just a library of games, but a certain aspect of game I just didn't have, which was playing online and competitive games. So summer 2003 was like the pinnacle of that because I had a little bit of everything. And some standouts to me, Rainbow Six 3 was, I had talked about it before. I loved Rainbow Six, but I didn't have a PC, so I couldn't play Raven Shield at the time, but they ported Rainbow Six 3. And the way in which I was able to figure out how that game works from a tactical level, I was cooking folks. I was 12 years old, 13 years old, cooking people online, just because like I had all the time in the world. That's another thing too, is like a lot of this nostalgia comes from the fact that I was a kid and I had time to do all this stuff. I had time to get good at these games and really climb the leaderboard, sink my teeth into, really figure these games out. So Rainbow Six 3 was like a huge standout for me. Soldier of Fortune 2.
Wait, can we go back to Rainbow Six for just a quick second?
Absolutely.
I'm right there with you on that one. Even offline, just in the single player campaign, I loved using the Xbox Live chat headset to give your AI squad mates voice commands. So you'd stack them up at the door and then you'd say, go, go, go. And then they would bust through it was just so cool. It sounds ridiculous, but it was so cool.
Yeah, it was an era of novelty, I think, that it was all new to us.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel cheap at the time too. So Rainbow Six was huge with that voice commands, online multiplayer. Soldier of Fortune 2 was like a really strange game because If you know, that game is like really gruesome. It's very, very gory. But I felt like the shooting mechanics were actually very good, and I played a lot of Capture
Raven
the Flag
Software,
online.
man, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, it's wild. Like to think back to that lineage that they had. Soldier of Fortune 2, when they got that PC port for called Double Helix, it was a wild time. Unreal Championship was huge too, because like, you know, I played Unreal Tournament 99 on like library computers at the time. I'm like, wow, I really want this game for myself, but the Unreal Championship was the closest thing, which was a port of Unreal Tournament 2003. So it's a very good port. Return to Castle Wolfenstein though, man, that was peak. That was
it was like, so good.
Don't get me wrong. Halo 2 is the multiplayer Xbox Live GOAT, but for me, it was Return to Castle Wolfenstein. Yeah, I've talked about before.
Class-based multiplayer.
Yeah. Being a medic, just racking up points, just sticking syringes in fools, throwing med packs, all that stuff. The Counter-Strike port was actually pretty good. Ghost Recon was on that thing. Project Gotham Racing 2. Playing cat and mouse with Mini Coopers and Lamborghinis, pushing each other through like the game modes that we would come up with. And Midtown Madness 3. My brother got really mad at me. I was playing Midtown Madness 3 online, and I was just like cracking jokes with the randoms online. And it was like at midnight. It was summer. I didn't care. I didn't have anywhere to go. My brother was in the military at the time too, so he has to wake up at like 5 and go to like go to the Navy base for work. And he busted into my room. He's like, "Yo, shut the hell up!" And I'm like, "Damn, man, I'm having a good time with the homies." He's like, "Who are your homies?" Like, I don't know. It's just randoms online. It's just. That era, specifically in the summer of 2003, it was like the confluence of all these different kinds of games, the novelty of online multiplayer through a console, and just really good PC ports at the time. Like there are quote unquote like better eras of, you know, console generations, but that for me, that moment in time, summer 2003, man, I would love to go back to re-experience that sense of discovery. Like, I can't believe I'm playing these really intricate online games that I thought were inaccessible to me because they were all PC games. Now they're on console in like pretty good form. So I miss that era so much.
Really well said. I had written down as an honorary mention, because I did 2 and then an honorary mention. I'm just going to do that real quick because it's just right in line with yours. And it's basically what I had written down for my honorary mention is the original Xbox Live era. So which basically is November 2002 when the service launched up until the 360 launched in November of 2005. So this 3-year window, that's kind of a long era. That's why it's my honorary mention. I have more specific examples. But yeah, it's everything you're talking about. And what I would add to what you said is that part of the joy of it for me, and I imagine you would agree with this, is that it's not that it was a niche thing, but it hadn't gone so mainstream yet where it was just this default accepted, expected thing. And what I'm trying to say is the people that were online on Xbox Live in those original Xbox days, they were there because they wanted to be there. They were paying to be there. It was like, and that fostered such a sense of, you know, not that trolling was completely gone. I mean, of course, there was still some of that, but I just have such vivid memories of jumping into random matchmaking games for Ghost Recon. Was one of my favorite games from the launch of Xbox Live in fall of 2002, and people would talk and they would actually like play the game. Like they would coordinate with you over voice chat. And that's just like, that's all gone. And it's never, ever, ever coming back.
Nope.
Like you can find that with sort of friend groups or sort of like gaming clans or whatever. But in terms of the general, just jumping into a game, that's dead forever. I mean, for one, most people are in party chat now. Like you're just not even gonna really encounter other people in terms of their actual voices, which maybe some people would be like, that's for the better, but I wouldn't necessarily disagree. But that's really good shout on that. Cause it's those first few years of Xbox Live were just this I think the closest thing to the sort of platonic ideal of what online multiplayer gaming could be. And I know I'm
Absolutely.
romanticizing it, but
Yeah.
I'm telling you, if you were there, as you were, some of our listeners are too young. But if you were there, I'm not.
That was real. I actually, I forgot I had that in my my sub notes for my entry, but like maybe it's the rose tinted glasses, but there was like a goofy innocence to people's demeanor on Xbox Live where we were mostly cracking harmless jokes. It's just like people being goofy because there's kind of like this online spaces were still trying to mature. And like, I think people were still trying to like find the boundaries, for better or worse, trying to find the boundaries. There's a lot of trash talk and people being dumb. Let me tell you, but like, man, the your mom jokes of that era went so crazy. Oh man, it was just like, because it's a lot of like early 20, like teenagers, early people in their early 20s, like just saying dumb things.
Pre-social media.
Yeah, it was, I wouldn't say it was completely harmless. There were edgelords, of course, saying like wild things, but like proportion wise to what you hear nowadays and what you expect nowadays to what actually was during that era, it was night and day.
Yeah, absolutely. So for my first era that I would time travel back to and experience again if I could from a gaming perspective, it does overlap with what you were talking about, but I wanted to zero in specifically on what I would call peak Halo 2 era, meaning from the launch of that game on November 9th, 2004, until the 360 came out 1 year later on November 22nd, 2005. Because not that Halo 2 just stopped, but when the 360 came out, that kind of definitely shifted. Halo 2 wasn't like the thing anymore, even though tons of people were still playing it. But that first year, which I don't know how many literal thousands of hours I put into Halo 2 multiplayer in that window. But the thing is, again, if I know people can experience it now through Master Chief Collection, and it's still great, and I still think it holds up super well, but at the time, and Michael, I know you can attest to this, Halo 2 wasn't just a brilliant multiplayer game that also happened to have literally the best and most revolutionary online matchmaking system for friends and randoms that a console game. Actually, I don't even know if you could limit it to console. Like back then, PC online multiplayer was just like server browsing. You'd go on, you'd browse a list of servers and go, I guess I'll join that one because the ping time looks low. But Halo 2, it completely reinvented how online matchmaking and hanging out, like you could buddy up with your friends, like up to 16 of your friends, and you could all stay together for the whole night. Like it would, you'd play a game, it would dump you back to that same lobby, everybody's still in there, and you just reconfigure the map and the game type and all that and just keep going, or you jump into matchmaking, whatever you wanted to do. But it was also, in addition to all those brilliant things on the actual game side, it was also a cultural moment. I mean, Halo 2 at the time had the biggest day one sales of any entertainment, anything ever, like even more than movies at that point, because it did like 125 million in a day, which back then, box office movies, they weren't doing that in a day at that point in time. So, and then I guess I would add one more thing about peak Halo 2 is it was 3 years of some of the most insane buildup and anticipation you could ever imagine after Halo 1 had been this revolutionary game that really brought first-person shooters to consoles and was the killer app. You had to buy an Xbox, you had to play this thing, and people had been playing Halo 1 multiplayer, split screen, system link, doing LAN parties and stuff, but Halo 2 actually lived up to the hype after all of that anticipation and buildup. It was also before Call of Duty had come and taken over really the entire multiplayer landscape, because Call of Duty only existed as a good PC game. It hadn't ventured over into consoles yet. So Halo was the big thing from 2004 to 2005, and I just miss just logging on every night with my coworkers and friends and just playing it and just having endless good times. And even remember Michael, that Bungie they actually had all your stats were on the website on Bungie.net, and we would go and like just look at all of our stats, like, and it was all, like you said, it was all just brand new and so good, and so just there was so much joy delivered by that game specifically for me that it's gone, right? Like, I could still fire up Master Chief Collection, I could jump into Halo 2 multiplayer right now, but it's not, the moment's gone, right? It's not the same. Is gone. So
yeah, man, yeah. I mean, like I said, like 2003 was like kind of like my fondest memories, but man, like that, when that game came out, me and my friends like packing our Xboxes into our backpacks and bringing them over to each other's houses. Like the online multiplayer, don't get me wrong, was like, that was nothing short of revolutionary, but still like the spirit of LAN parties and bringing them over and hooking them up to small TVs, doing split screen on small TVs in a living room, ordering pizza. Like, that's just, I think I'm very lucky to have been at like the perfect age for this era. So that definitely plays into why these things are so fond and kind of like forming our gaming tastes, man. That is, like you said, though, that's, I can only remember it because, you know, we're too old to be lugging Xboxes to each other's houses. I mean, we kind of don't have to anymore. And then that's the thing. Yeah. That's kind of the thing. It's like, you had to do those things and they were inconvenient, but that inconvenience, that effort you had to put in is kind of part of what makes those moments special, right? So
you're absolutely right. Yeah. It's in that way, online gaming, and I don't want this taken out of context, but like in that specific example, you could say that online gaming kind of ruined multiplayer gaming. Obviously, it has had a very awesome net positive effect on gaming overall, but you're right. Like we just don't do that anymore. Like we don't haul our systems and televisions over to our buddies' houses anymore to do that stuff and stay up all night, like, or, you know, eating pizza. It's
we got handhelds now, so
you're on your couch. Yeah. You're on your couch now. So
yeah.
Oh, good stuff. All right, give me one more, Michael, and then I'll give you one more, and then we'll move on.
Yeah. Not too far off of summer 2003, but winter 2003, 2004. This is also a very personal thing, is where I don't know, like that winter break, I kind of started to like rediscover a bunch of other games, because like when I got Xbox Live, I was online multiplayer only. That's all I was doing day in and day out. Just like shooters, racing games all day. But then in the winter, I talked about Deus Ex so many times. So I was really looking forward to Deus Ex Invisible War. And when that game finally dropped on December 3rd, December 4th, 2003. I remember because it got delayed twice because I had that reserved at my local GameStop. It was such a distinct memory. I was like really into Linkin Park. I was really into Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic at the time too, because that came out in September, and I was like,
that was July. That was over the summer.
Okay,
it doesn't matter though. Go ahead, it's fine.
But like I had been in like such a RPG phase. Like I was constantly replaying Knights of the Old Republic. I was sinking my teeth into Deus Ex Invisible War, even though it's like technically not a great game, not a great Deus Ex game. I still loved it for what it was. Max Payne 2 was huge for me. Like I had played Max Payne 1 on PS2, but it was like so hard that I didn't finish the game because I was a dumb kid. But something about Max Payne 2 just like hone in on that dark noir storytelling that I should not have been playing. Oh, Mona Sachs, that's the homegirl right there, man. Oh man, I loved Max Payne 2 so much. I was playing Need for Speed Underground. I was just like, I think that time I started to like branch into so many different genres, and that's why I remember that specific era so fondly. Because I had like the Xbox had gone to a point where like the library had gotten like really diverse, and multi-platform games, like I would play the multi-platform games on Xbox. Like Invisible War was console exclusive to Xbox, is on PC also, and Knights of the Republic was on PC, but Max Payne 2 was multi-platform, but I played all this stuff on Xbox, and so it was just nice to have like centralized, like, oh, this is like one console where I can get all the multi-platform games and the PC games that I don't have access to all in one spot, and I'll still wrecking fools in Rainbow Six 3. So like that point, I was locked in, man. Like and just that feeling of, hey, I don't have to go to school, I don't got a job, I'm just chilling. Like I'll go outside, I'll play with my friends outside, but you can catch me on Xbox Live, baby.
Oh, so well said. Yeah, Max Payne. Rest in peace, James McCaffrey, my dad. Not really my dad, but always cool to see other famous McCaffrey. They pop up every now and again, right? Every now and again, there's a famous McCaffrey. But
yeah, like
James McCaffrey, the voice of Max Payne, passed away last year. Rest in peace, James. I'll tell you, for that Max Payne 1 and 2 remake that Remedy's doing, that I'm, by the way, super pumped about. Like the idea of that developer, I mean, it's their own game. It's not some port house. Like Remedy's arguably only gotten more talented over the years. And now they're going to go back with new tech and completely remake Max Payne 1 and 2. That's going to be killer. But if it comes down to, like, if those audio files, if the VO that James McCaffrey did, if it's like too low bit rate or whatever for modern standard and they have to recast it, that's a tall task. That's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough with him not being the voice of Max Payne. But anyway, so much good stuff in there, Michael. Absolutely, it's just killer, man. For me, I'm gonna give one more, and we could keep going for like an entire show. Actually, we could keep going on this.
It feels like there's something special about every like block of time, right?
Well, and yeah, especially like certainly I know a lot of listeners probably already posting in the comments right now of the first half of the 360 era, just or just fall of 2007, which was arguably the single greatest stretch in literal gaming history, and much of that at Xbox was like heavily in the middle of that with Halo 3 and Mass Effect 1 and stuff. But the other one that I wanted to give for my little personal anecdote here is what I'm going to call the Rock Band era. Nothing against Guitar Hero, but when Harmonix, so quick history lesson for those that aren't aware, Guitar Hero was first, and it was created by Harmonix, a developer you've probably heard of. They're owned by Epic now and doing stuff with Fortnite. But Harmonix, they were basically a bunch of game developers who were also all musicians on the side, or maybe not even on the side. Like they were just musicians. And they had tapped into this, like this thing with Guitar Hero. And then Activision bought that, but they didn't buy Harmonix. So Harmonix went off and partnered with MTV at the time, not a company you think of as a video game publisher, but they did Rock Band, where they blew it out to 4 people. And when that, I remember seeing like, I think it was I guess at the time either a YouTube video or just some clip from a press conference or something, and it must have been like an EA E3 press conference where it was 4 people from Harmonix, 4 developers giving a demo, like playing it on a stage, and it just looked like the most fun thing I'd ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And then I remember when we finally got to play it. So I'm an official Xbox magazine at this point, so I've got like early access to all this stuff. When we finally got our Rock Band kit, it was like the greatest day, one of the greatest days ever. It was so good. And we just couldn't stop. So the Rock Band era, which I'll call November 2007, because that's when Rock Band 1 came out. And I'll say up through Rock Band 3 coming out, because 3, it kind of had started to tail off by that. They added the keyboard, but 3 just, it wasn't the same anymore. Like the moment was kind of passing at that point. So I'll call it November 07 to holiday 2010, which really basically encompasses Rock Band 1 and Rock Band 2. And it just, I don't know if you have any Rock Band memories yourself, Michael.
Bro.
You seem like the kind of guy who absolutely would have some killer memories.
Yeah, absolutely.
It just
I play music myself, so
nice.
And the advent of like the plastic instrument gaming era, like I'm good at rhythm games. Like I don't like to like flex and be like, oh, I'm so good at Call of Duty or whatever. Like I'm decent at everything. But when it comes to rhythm games, I do not play around. I am very, very good at rhythm games.
Hell yeah. I need to, so you've got to come over it then at some point, and I got to just bust out. I still have it. Like the kits are worth money now, which sucks that they're not just available, that you have to pay a premium on eBay to get a functioning one. But I've got a stash. I've got, I think, like 2 drum kits hiding away.
Yeah.
And I've got some guitars hiding away too.
Yeah. That era, like, the thing too is it's almost similar to what Tony Hawk's Pro Skater did for me, was informing my music taste. I was already a teenager at the time, so I was already like deep into like metal, punk rock, and hip hop. Like my music taste had already formed, but I was discovering new bands or like discovering old music through Rock Band and Guitar Hero. And man, like, and yeah, like, ooh, when I know this is not Rock Band, but when I got a perfect on expert on Metallica's One in Guitar Hero 3,
yes,
dog, when I ripped through that solo, oh my God, dog, I was like, yo, I would already love Metallica at the time, but like to do what, especially through the solo, oh my God, man, I love that.
Oh, and when Rock Band did weekly DLC, which was insane.
Yeah.
That was, at the time, that was completely insane and unheard of. Every week there was new stuff, and sometimes they had full albums. You know, they did 10 by Pearl Jam, which was incredible in the game.
Yeah.
I remember the week that they had the Metallica 3-pack, and it was And Justice for All, I think Ride the Lightning.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm trying to think. I don't think it was it 1? Maybe it was 1. But anyway, yeah, the thing about like Rock Band, to this day, the multiplayer in that game, the co-op multiplayer, it just produced a feeling of joy and camaraderie that no other game has replicated. And I know that sounds like a ridiculous, hyperbolic exaggeration, but I promise you it's true. It's just like,
you had to be there.
It's a different, when you're 4 of you are in a room, one of you's got the mic, and I was usually, I cannot sing at all. I never like to be the person with the mic. But whether you had the mic or you've got one of the guitars, bass or lead guitar, or you're behind the drum kit, and like you all activate star power, or I guess it was overdrive in Rock Band.
Yeah. You
all just hit it at the same time to hit the score multiplier, and you're all just, it is, I really think that Harmonix achieved, I've never been in a band, and I can't play a real instrument, but I really feel like they probably replicated the feeling of playing real music with other human beings as closely as any video game has ever come close to accomplishing.
It was pretty close. Like I play music. I haven't been in a band, but I played music and had jam sessions with friends, and it's pretty close too. And when with Rock Band introducing vocals, it's like, hey, this is a karaoke game too. That everyone can participate in. Like I will pick the songs that I can sing, and then like everyone else still can participate by playing drums, bass, or guitar as well. And like that novelty, like that, like you said, the moment's gone, but that novelty pops up every now and then. I remember I went to PAX West 2019, and I went to like this Airbnb I had with like a bunch of like freelancers at the time, and they had Rock Band set up, and that was all we did that night. It just, it felt like for at least this moment right now, I am back to 2007. And so like, that fun can still exist in some form. I guess, of course, it's not as frequent as it was back then when we were all playing that, but that novelty is like, there's something like, particularly with rhythm games and music, like that doesn't go away. Our love for rhythm games and music doesn't go away. The moment might be gone, but you know, music is forever.
Yeah, and to your point as well, I had the same thing where it introduced me to a lot of music that I love now. Like I didn't really like. Of course, I've heard songs by The Who, but like they put I think they put all of Who's Next in the game there, which is their like biggest, most famous album, and it's like, yeah, this is awesome. And Rush is another one where like, sure, I've heard Rush, but like, oh no, like Rush is really good and it's super fun to play in the game. Coheed and Cambria, like so much fun to play in the game.
Yep.
There's just, so much. Oh man. Yeah. That's again, like that moment is gone, but I would kill to go back and experience that again. So that's
absolutely,
that was good stuff. So I will, this is an episode where I will look forward to reading the comments of everybody kind of sharing their favorite gaming eras that they'd like to go back and relive if they could. Thanks for checking out this clip from Unlocked, IGN's weekly Xbox show. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to watch the full episode at youtube.com/IGN Games. New episodes of Unlocked drop every Thursday on IGN Games, IGN.com, and your favorite podcast platforms. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.